1930 Mead Primary Glider. This was a type of aircraft that was built quite a lot during the Depression. It was a very cheap way to fly. Modern mechanics printed the drawings. In Germany, it was illegal to have over 3 horsepower. They were flying these in the Black Mountains, and this is really how all the Luftwaffe in World War II, all their pilots got their experiences flying these gliders. This is an original fuselage, was traded to a museum out in Western New York for a pile of junk we had. And the boys here had built new wings and new tail for it. And it has to be, the wings are the last things to be covered here, and it'll be just like the Waco, ridge stitched around the structure. They're just fitting the aileron control assembly, which ties with the control stick here. And as soon as that's done, these wings will pop off and we'll cover the wings, and this glider will be complete. This here is the hitch assembly, and this glider is launched off of hills mainly with about 200 feet of bungee cord stretched out. A couple of people holding the tail, and 2 groups of guys will run in a V and stretch the cord until the guys on the tail can't hold anymore. Then it's catapulted into the air. And this is the release assembly right here. When you pull back on that handle, it releases the bungee cord so you can safely glide away and land. This is it. This is why they called them a primary. This is the very basics of flying. This is how you started. It was very, very low drag glide ratio. So you didn't get very much of a flight out of it. Then you went into more advanced gliders with a better glide ratio to soar, to actually gain altitude. This would never gain altitude. It is a very precarious, hence the helmet. But it'll be flown in a very limited fashion here because we don't have any hills. It's strictly on a flat runway, and there's a little bit of a knoll. When we get good at it, we can take advantage of that. But what a way to learn how to fly. I mean, you learn to fly without instruments, just to fly by feel. So if you could fly gliders, you could pretty much handle anything. No reference points. Yeah, usually you're sitting in the middle of the wing or sometimes behind the wing or the trailing edge of the wing, and you can see the entire airplane ahead of you, and you can judge your attitude by that. But right here, you're out in front of everything, and this is a critical thing. Again, there's no power, and it's a very, very high sink rate. So
what happens if you stall at 50 feet?
Well, that's where this takes over.
Show us your helmet again.
Yeah, and this. Yeah, this won't get to 50 feet, but it is a critical thing as far as airspeed goes. I mean, the speed between, you know, what it cruises at, and literally in a cruise with stalling speed is probably 10 mile an hour difference. So there's not much between stall and flying. So it's a fine line right there. But it'll teach you. It'll really, it taught people well how to fly. Pay attention. Yeah. Don't fall asleep when you're flying. And the movie Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines in the very beginning shows one going into a loop. For what reason, I don't know, and the guy falls right out. But the seat belt is was a piece that they didn't have way back before World War I. World War I pretty much was the beginning of safety belts. And why he wasn't wearing a belt, I don't know, but it's a great safety item. So once you're belted, it's fine. But in the early days, to be thrown out of the airplane was much safer to be in it during a wreck. So people had their own way of crashing. Usually throwing Louis Blériot used to throw himself out on the wing. He said it was the safest spot to be in a crash.